Hello, my name is Justin, and today I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about the Scream franchise. I also wanted to rank the movies and killers, but that'll be towards the end. So, I actually rewatched Scream 6 before seeing Scream 7, and I found myself kind of irritated at the movie. And I came to the conclusion that I think that's because of the consistent need to call back to the original movie specifically. Like, not even the other sequels. I mean, maybe like loosely, like that's, Nancy Loomis's jacket, like I felt like consistently calling back is starting to ruin the franchise. I also found it cheap that two movies in a row, 5 and 6, had killers that were derivative of the first four, but specifically the mastermind. So the boyfriend in the first one, and then the parent of that boyfriend in the next one, the sequel. I was really excited and hopeful that maybe we'd get something new in Scream 7, but I still had fear that callbacks would hold it back, just like the previous two. Unfortunately, for the most part, I was disappointed by Scream 7. I love Sydney, just like the rest of us, but I do feel that there's not much to do with her because there isn't much stakes for her character. Before watching Scream 7, I imagined what stakes there could be for Sydney, as I knew she wasn't going to die. I was thinking, like, I didn't like the idea of her daughter Tatum being the killer, and I didn't necessarily think she would die either, but that was mostly because of plot armor. And that sucked because I felt like it would have been a good storyline and add a new layer to Sydney's character that we honestly haven't seen since Scream 3. I think there is a lot of it in Scream 7, and that is something I do like about the movie is it is very much carried by Nev Campbell's acting and Sydney's precaution for Tatum's life due to her own past. I'm not one to believe that stakes necessarily have to result in death. So I was thinking of some ways you could still have stakes for Sydney that doesn't result in death because honestly, at this point, it's not really an option for her character. So I was thinking that it would honestly make her a badass if like one of her hands were chopped off, or maybe she was like amputated from the waist down. I don't believe that being disabled would stop her from being a final girl, but I do think it would add some moments of genuine fear and curiosity about how she would make it out of that situation and survive. It was also my hypothesis before the movie came out that the killer and motive would be inspired by the one in Scream 3, mostly just due to that being a trend in the past couple ones. I think, along with many people, I too liked the idea of Jessica, played by Anna Camp, being Leslie Mocker, Stu's sister mentioned in Scream 5. But while I was thinking about that, I was like, oh, well, that doesn't really parallel to Scream 3, so I was thinking more. And I was like, Sydney would never abandon a child, but Roman might. Maybe that child knew about his father, maybe not. Either way, they could be found or get in contact with Leslie. I then thought more about Leslie and why she wasn't mentioned before in previous movies, besides just the fact that it's retroactive continuity. I headcanoned, due to the trailer, that Leslie was put in a mental hospital at a young age due to her parents noticing violent traits. It would also be ironic that the kid they didn't put in the mental hospital became one of the first Ghostface killers. I then remembered her son that died in Scream 5, played by Kyle Gallner. So I kept thinking, maybe she was released at some point, she had a kid, but when that kid died, it triggered her so bad that she admitted herself once again. I think you can go from there. Maybe Roman's kid is also a patient or learns about Leslie and meets up with her themselves. It would have felt like reheated nachos to some extent, and it would also be the sixth and seventh killer related to a ghost face or a victim. But I don't know. I just wanted something new, but I can't think of anything new with Sydney being the main focus because it's really hard to like think of anything that is not tied to revenge because like every person that came after her is dead, you know what I mean? I would give Scream 7 grace for trying something new, but it being that sloppy and illogical shouldn't be praised as doing something that hasn't been done before. I really love Scream, and that's why I'm making this. I just want to see something new, and that's why I actually was never a hater of Sam and Tara. I just think we need to start moving away from what came before to create something just as iconic without relying on stuff like nostalgia that seems to only be there to put people in seats instead of creating a story on par as the original. But I guess company financial security is more important than telling stories that go beyond the shock factor, which fades away after the first viewing. And all you're left with is an imitation and callbacks to something better. So that's that. My main thoughts. I did want to talk about some things I did like about Scream 7. Um, I liked the idea of Sydney hiding her past from her daughter, as it creates a new version of what happened to Sydney with her mother. I also liked that Gail has lasting effects from being attacked in New York because, like, we're at a point where, like, Chad is, like, walking around. He's fine. He's, like, laughing with Mindy like he wasn't stabbed 20 times just a few years back. I even like the idea of using AI of past killers, but it would have been done to a way better extent if Jessica was Leslie Mocker. Like, it just would have made more sense to be using Stoop specifically. Because what was the purpose, actually? Like, there wasn't. Unlike some people, I think. I think there's people that. My own partner doesn't like Chad and Mindy, so that's why I'm saying this. Some people don't like Chad and Mindy. I just wish, like Sydney, they had stakes. I've been a fan of the idea of one of them going, as it would cement the other in always being there when a new killer appears to make sure what happened to their twin never happens again. Because really, like, what were they doing in this movie? Like, there wasn't really a purpose at all, really. So, now that is that on Scream 7. Let's get to my ranking of the movies and killers. So, for the movies, um, obviously, one is number one, and then two is two, and three is actually four, because I actually really like Scream 4. Not much so for like the horror of it all. I feel like I really just appreciate the like character of Jill and her reasons for doing what she does. Now, Scream 3 is number 4 for me. I actually really love Scream 3, but I think I prefer Scream 4 above it. Whereas, like, 1 and 2 are kind of just like written in stone, you know? But I actually, so I really like Scream 3. I love Scream 3. I think it's so funny. Um, and I think it's honestly really good, to be honest. Like, people hated on it, but look where we're at now. And without a Scream 3, we wouldn't have a Scream 7. So don't mess with me. In fifth place, I have Scream 6, but I would still put it above 7, which is in the number 6 spot, because 5 is just kind of boring. Like, Dewey dies, we get. I'm Sydney fucking Prescott, of course I have a gun, but really that's like all it gives me. Now, I want to rank the killers. Number 1 is Jill. I'm so, like, I don't know. Like, I think she's just fucking crazy, and I love that for her. I I think it was there's a YouTube channel called like I guess it's just Zach Cherry's YouTube channel, right? And then he has his podcast, The Cherry Picker, and he talked about how like Jill was not going to get away with that at the ending. Like she she did all that. Like there's more bodies in the hospital, and you're like it doesn't add up with her story that like she's a victim when now because she did all that in the hospital. Like, how was she planning on getting away with that? Like, I think he talked about how she was just willing to live in the 5 seconds for as long as she could, even if it wasn't going to work out in the long run. And I love that for her. I think she's fucking crazy. She's delusional and she had a dream. She's just one of us, okay? So number two is Billy, and number three is Stu. I think they're kind of just interchangeable. I really like how chaotic Billy is, especially towards, I mean, after his reveal, but towards the ending when he is like stabbing the couch because like Sydney is like hiding in a closet with the Ghostface costume. Number four is Mickey. I think Mickey is so fucking funny. I quote Mickey all the time. He's the kind of mom. Great, I fucked it up. He's the kind of guy you would bring home to mom if you had a mom. And I'm like, oh, Mickey, you're a little snappy. I love you. And I really like that he gets into Sydney's head. I think that's when the killers are written the best, is when they can actually get to Sydney. Like, what was Jessica? Like her neighbor, like she didn't even do anything. Number five is Mrs. Loomis. Um, because honestly, she's kind of just like Billy. Like she like can snap and she's like crazy eyes. She's everywhere. Number six is Roman. Um, I don't know. I think like not that like Scream 3 really makes sense with just having one killer, but I I don't know. I don't know. I guess Roman could have went down further, but I like him. I think he has almost like the same energy as Mickey, just more like whiny. So that's why he's under him. Number seven is Amber because I think she's kind of like Jill. I mean, Jill. Okay, I think why people like Jill is because people really believe that she could have got away with it, and no, she wouldn't have. Like I said, the whole hospital thing, she would have kept going until like her story was straight. But while she's doing that, she's fucking up her story even more. So Jill wouldn't have gotten away with it, but I think like her delusional mindset about it is iconic. Whereas Amber, she's kind of just like, she's just full on chaotic. She doesn't really have a plan. She's like swinging from emotion. I mean, not that like those emotions are real, it's more manipulative, but I think she's chaotic and I love her. Her little like welcome to act 3. So 8 is Charlie. I like that he's a little creepy. I like that he is just a weird little guy, honestly. Like I think honestly this is just where Charlie is because the rest of them are kind of just like whatever. Like Richie, whatever. Quinn, whatever. Bailey, Officer Bailey, whatever. Ethan, what the fuck ever. Jessica, like, am I even supposed to like add Jessica and the other two to this list? Like, they do not compare to Jill, Billy, Stu, Mickey, Mrs. Loomis, and Roman. Like, don't piss me off. Like this is exactly what I was worried about. Is that it's not like we're not doing anything. We're just trying to rehash things for the most part. Like the whole movie, Scream 7, was like, remember Scream 1 through 6? And also here's the killer. It doesn't really make sense, does it? And even Anna Camp was like saying, like, I'll try to find the clip, but she was saying that when she got the script, there was literally nothing for Jessica. Like she didn't even have like a second scene. That's not okay. That's really not okay. Jill might be my number one because I like how chaotic she is, but like other than that, when she's not chaotic, there's not much to her. And so I think that's why Billy and Stu will always be at the top, is because at least they had character. They were characters throughout the movie. For the most part, and I've heard that people will say that about Mickey and Mrs. Loomis, is that they were barely in the movie. Okay, well, watch Scream 7 and tell me how you feel then. I don't know. I don't know if any of this is making sense. I just wanted to ramble about this. So, yeah. Bye.